Everyone, it's Carolyn. Happy 2023. So I have been given some information from my team and the Light Keepers on really expanding beyond, or I should say further, with this idea of the year of 2023 being the year of creative expansion. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about energy, but we're going to talk about 3 things that we can do to one degree or another, and however it fits into your journey and your lifestyle, that you can do to consider how you can open up energy in your day-to-day, in your life, in your vortex of your journey to more creatively expand, to allow that space for that expansion. Because as you may recall, 2022, as I've said before, they brought through that it was the year of creating or starting to create. Well, this is now the year of creative expansion. Now, I've already talked about what the word create means. And I told you kind of where I was at with things before my awakening when I kept getting the word create as a pattern. And a sign and a message coming to me regularly. I literally thought that just meant do something artsy. I mean, I know in the stage of life that I'm in, I'm amazed. I'm like, oh no, we are creators. We create every single day. So since then, that's what this whole journey has been about, is what do we create moving forward? What are we creating inside ourselves? So this is what we're going to talk about today, is what are we creating every single day? How do we use this opportunity coming up in 2023 of energy that is allowing for creative expansion? So hopefully today you'll take away something that you can incorporate into your day-to-day, and that you may come up with different ideas, other than the ones I'm coming up with, to be able to open up this kind of energetic space. And then what that does is that's going to allow flow to come in. It's going to allow a creative flow to come in when we open up that space. But when we have that space closed off, you might be surprised at what can close off the flow of energy. It's not just thoughts that we have. It's how our day-to-day goes, how we're set up in our journey. It's amazing what happens when we start to reconfigure. They just said reconfigure our lifestyle in many ways. So I'm going to talk today about 3 things that we can do to, they just said to become more expansive. Okay, in this time of great creation. Okay, you're moving into a time of energy that is uplifting you. Is motivating you. That's interesting. Motivating you in an energetic way. To make your dreams come true. Wow. And they're talking collectively speaking. So remember, we're talking big picture too. And of course, what we do individually rolls up into the collective. So we're all going through this journey in one way or the other. Either, many of us are in the beginning stages of this awakening journey. Others of us are, I'll just say, in a more stable place. Doesn't mean we still don't have things clearing occur. But what they're really talking about is, and they're bringing in the Aquarian Age energies. They just said ramping up. They're really going to be ramping up. Okay, which is why they want to talk about this, why they want to talk about being the creator being that we are. Okay, because I kept getting over the last 2 days to talk about this, and then they added, like this morning, a significant part to this too. So anyway, today I hope you take away something for your own journey. So I'm Carolyn. I'm a channel. I'm a distance energy healer, and I'm a spiritual awakening mentor. And I offer these channeled messages often from the Light Keepers. The information that I bring through is from the Light Keepers, who are a group of angelic beings who I channel. I've channeled them since, 2017. And they are here to guide you forward in your awakening journey. So what I always say is take what resonates and toss the rest aside, because it's your journey. So what I do is I offer everything I receive, and then you can pick and choose what works for you. So if you're new to my channel, I thank you for joining me today. I hope you will like, share, and subscribe, as well as checking out the link below in the description box where you can get more free content through my email list. You'll get a video on how to create flow in your body for health and wellness first. That'll then send you over to my email list. My email list is used to give you free content. Essentially what I do is I give you a poetic message from the Light Keepers. It's a supportive message for the next week. They always come out on Fridays, and so you can watch for those in your inbox. So join me there too. I also have Instagram where I have kind of started back up again. I really enjoy posting the poetic messages because they carry supportive energy. So when you read these, they actually have light in them. This is what I was told when I first started channeling back in 2016, which is why they wanted me to publish these as broadly as I can. So I'm back on Instagram. I publish a couple times a week there. I'm also on Facebook under Purple Rain Healing. Instagram's under Carolyn Zaiser. So there you go. You can get more free content that way and some really beautiful supportive messages. So the Light Keepers channel through me, and I'm going to just share with you. I'm going to start right off with respect to the year of creative expansion and what they are talking about. Now, here's the thing. We look at the new year as, typically I'm going to set resolutions and I'm going to do the thing. I used to be such a big resolution setter, and I would get, honestly, this is before my awakening, anxious. I would free up the whole, kind of the week, and then I would take the weekend and I wouldn't really go out. I would spend time writing down detailed resolutions, and then I would get all whipped up in a tight ball. And remember, that's before I knew anything about energy and that we're energy beings. Because a lot of what they download to me has to do with energy, right? Well, what I would do is I would tighten everything up, and it would just be constricting, and it felt awful, and it wasn't good. And of course, then what did I do? I didn't keep my resolutions, right? So what they're talking about here is going back to December, and what we talked about was shoring up our foundation. That was the theme for December. They're kind of doing themes now. So needless to say, shoring up our foundation, which was really, and I always forget how expansive the things they talk about are, because when I was thinking about shoring up our foundation, even though they didn't talk about it like this, I was thinking of, okay, let's see what can I do for my self-care. Oh no, mine was much broader. Mine had to do with my home. And I won't go into the detail, but long story short, I ended up deciding to replace my furnace. And I've been doing a lot of things around my home because my home is, for me, is my foundation. It's really where I do everything. I work from here. I'm here 90% of the time. It's my foundation. So my shoring up of my foundation in December was my home, okay? And also a whole lot of clearing of stuff that I already shared about in the last video. Needless to say, what they're talking about, and they were telling me this morning, that that continues, and I think we mentioned that in the video, is that it doesn't just end on January 1, all right? However, January 1 and New Year's is highly energetic because the collective has created it to be that way. We can all argue as to whether there's really a calendar, year, but we've created it that way because we're creators. So we create every single day. And of course, what we see in the collective, we have essentially created in the past that now is manifest, right? So anyway, needless to say, we are moving now into January, and this is why I haven't done a video, frankly, until now, because we're just continuing that flow of shoring up our foundation. But what they want us to do is to be able to look at how we get ready to creatively expand by doing some of these things here. Not so much looking at them as resolutions, but looking at them as really what can you do in January to start setting, looking at how these three things you might be able to adapt, because it's going to free up energetic space for you to create, whatever that means for you. So I'm going to start today with the first one, where we are basically reclaiming energy. We're making energetic space. Okay, we're creating more energetic space. This is the first one, but what it is really clearing out to make way. And you can call it minimalizing, you can call it just cleaning your closets, whatever it is, but don't discount this, because there are a lot of things that impact us that are in our surroundings, in our home. All right. And I'm going to go through some ideas for you and some things that I've done as well. What we surround ourselves with takes up energy. If we have a cluttered space, and I'm going to talk to you about my examples. If we have a cluttered space, if we have boxes and boxes of things, if we have things we haven't cleaned out, if we have, if we don't put things away, and no one's perfect, but in general, if we live in a way that our things are taking up energetic space, I will tell you right now, you're going to have trouble creating new, particularly in these energies. Okay, that's the key where we're at now, right? So one of the things that they have said to me very much is start looking at clearing out when we clean up as creating energetic space. Okay, you're creating space. Oh, wow, for flow to come in, okay? And then you're going to be able to actually move. Okay, they're saying in a move, like physically move, energetically move in a more flowing way, honestly, through your home and through your day-to-day without, okay, they're talking about without all the encumbrances of the things that are taking up energy in your day. So as I'm talking, out of my peripheral vision, I'm looking at my office. I had thought my office was just fine, right? I have a lot of stuff. Okay, I have a lot of things. They're all in their place, right? They have meaning for me, but there's a lot going on where in my house, this is one of my big things, and I'm looking over to my left right now in a chair that I have where I don't put things away. This is huge for me. This is a huge energetic sucker of the potential for new energy to come in. Because then guess what happens? I do this thing of like, because I have stacked papers over here, okay? And I use this chair to put these papers when over here I have filing at an arm's reach, which is simple to when I'm done with something, go put it back. This is a problem for me. So what you want to do is identify what are the things that cause you a little anxiety with what you do. Is it like me where I have trouble putting things away? And I remember I used to live with someone, and when he moved, I remember looking around, and I used to always think it was him for some reason, like, oh, I'm always picking up after him. No, it was me, and I was still doing it. So I have a thing with leaving things out. I have not conquered that at all, but that's my thing for January. I'm going to start new habits. Now, you don't want to beat yourself up, right? When you don't do it all, because some of us tend to be a little perfectionist, and we don't want to then create more constricted energy when we don't do it right, okay? So for some of you, this may be new practices that you'll get going on, and you want to give yourself room to breathe on that and to be able to not shame yourself when you don't do it right. So putting things away for me is a big thing. It sucks energy when I don't put things away, because guess what? Then I come back and I get stressed out. And it's stressed out because the energy's there. It's the energy of all these things in a clutter or just, everything's clean. It's just I have stuff out. So being able to know that if I'm done with something, get into a habit of putting it back right away when I'm done with it. So today, literally today, as they're telling me all this, and some of it's obvious, but we have to see it and really have it put in front of our face. So essentially, I'm going to start now. I'm going around the house right now, and I'm going to get a clean space and be able to put everything away that isn't as simple. And this can turn into a big deal. As simple as I leave my brush out on my counter. Well, that's not normally what happens. It has a place in my drawer. Making your bed. This is a big deal. I said, really? And I said, a lot of people don't make their bed. Now I do. I just always have. I like that feeling of being able to like you've completed something. You've completed the sleep for the night. Okay, you close that down and then you open it back up. But again, it's energy. You have to think of this very differently. So what they said to me is, make your bed. Make your bed. It starts your day. This kind of aligns with one of the ones I'm going to talk about later on. But needless to say, putting things away. Another one that came to mind is, how many bins do you have around your house in storage? Out of sight, out of mind. Oh my gosh. Go take a bin when you feel like it. Again, I work from inspiration. So what will happen with me when I have an intention for something, I don't so formally do the thing of, oh, I must achieve this all on the weekend. Because again, that's heavy energy. I let it flow and come to me, that's very valuable for me. So I will put out into the universe, okay, I want help in being able to clean out, closets or whatever. And then I wait for it to show up typically within the week. And then space will open up for me and I will go do that thing. I'll just be guided to go do it. And so what has happened is I have found these bins that I didn't even really know what was in them. I've always just thought, oh, I just have storage. Well, do you need what's in there? How long has it been since you've looked in those spaces to even see what it is? Okay. Some things do, run their time and their course, and they're no longer needed. Another place to take a look at, and again, this depends on your living arrangements. So I have a garage. My garage can be one of the places where I'm like, oh, I might need that for spring or for gardening or for whatever. Remember, this is energy. So don't think this is just me talking about cleaning out your house. This is freeing up energy. And think of it that way when you're doing it. Like, actually intellectualize it, feel it, know it. You're clearing out space. And it feels so good. Whatever you choose to do with it, donating, whatever, you'll be amazed what you'll get. So what they're talking about is take a look in January as to where you can start freeing up energy, because what's going to happen is as you're doing the things that we're talking about here, you're going to create open space, open energy for new things to come in that serve you. Yes, you will. Guaranteed. All right, so let's see if I have some notes here. So let's see. Oh, two places they talked about in particular to focus on first is your sleeping space, your bedroom. And if you work from home, your workspace, or if you have an office where you do creative things and it doesn't mean it's your main job, but your workspace, okay, your office, which, well, I guess we've already identified I need to work on mine, right? So, oh, I just heard, yes, you do. Oh, great. Okay, well, all right, yes, I do. And those are two spaces where they really, because, okay, they're talking about rest and relaxation. The space that you're in, you do not want to go to bed at night in a cluttered, chaotic environment. And we could go on and on about what to include in your bedroom or not, but this is not how to design your home video, but it is how to free up space. All right. So very much like the streamlining, the clutter-free, the put things away, start sorting, but that's why they want you to make your bed too. Okay, so again, take these for what they're worth for you. Some of these will work, some of these won't. But I promise you will free up energetic space as you continue creating these new habits that you'll then continue down the road. And as you continue this and you set this as a habit, you're going to feel different. Okay, remember, this isn't a one and done thing. This whole journey is a patience practice. Never forget that. It's never going to move at the pace that the human wants it to. Never. We are such impatient creatures, so remember that. All right, this is over time, and that you've got to get into your head. All right, so your workspace and your sleep space. So maybe what you do after this is you focus on one of those two things. All right, over the course of January. Let's see. Oh, one thing I did recently. I have all the art supplies under the sun, and they're sitting right here, actually, in nice bins. But they were a disaster. Even though I had organized them a few years ago, I hadn't looked at them. Well, when I use them, what I then do is I don't organize them and put them back where they belong. Again, that's my thing. When you start to identify what your issue is, then you can start fixing it. And again, this all goes to freeing up energetic space for you down the road. All right? So my art supplies I did clean out the other day. It felt really good. You're going to be amazed at how great this feels. Okay, so clearing out, making way. Or clearing out of space, of clutter, of things you have. That is making energetic space, or reclaiming energetic space, really. Okay, you're reclaiming energetic space. You're opening that up. Okay, the second one, and this is interesting. They gave me this one. I didn't even think about this, but it came in when I was thinking about doing videos. Okay, and I'll tell you how that works. They're talking about recognition and applause. And I'm like, how does that have anything to do with energy, with freeing up space and energy? And they said, oh, it's a big one, because what happens is as we give our energy away to get, like they said, recognition, applause, approval from others. Now open your mind up to this, because the first thing you might say is, well, I don't do that. I don't do that. I do my own thing. Do you? Do it. Do the real study on this one, because what they're saying is we essentially give energy in our space away, and then that's what we're focused on, and that energy goes there. Okay, it goes externally, and it goes to Well, like with social media, how many likes you're getting, how many comments you're getting, especially if you do have social media presence in, say, your business or um, like I do, right? Or you're just out there a lot. Well, if we're giving our energy away and defining ourselves by how many likes and applause we get, how many comments we get, how many subscribers we get, and I have been there and done that. Let me tell you, it's not fun. It's giving away our energy. Okay, it's not an easily recognizable one, but it doesn't feel good if you get to the heart of the matter. And we can get whipped up in a frenzy of, as you know, of how many people are reading my comments, how many people are watching my YouTube videos or whatever. The other part of this is you can look at this in every relationship circumstance. What about work? Oh, I'm doing everything to get my boss's approval. Oh, I'm doing everything I can. And you can also become unauthentic as a result of that. And this is giving your energy away. This is not freeing up space for you to be able to create. So when we bring that back to us, we stop doing those things where we're, oh, I just heard the word groveling. It's true. It's true. Or believing that that's what's important, that the opinions of others, and particularly in social media, matter to us. I mean, there was a day not too long ago where social media, there was no such thing as getting all that approval out there, and it's really become an issue. So what I want you really to do is take a look at how, like, even the smallest things, how that can affect you, right? The words you choose to use. Are you filtering yourself so much? Are you not being as authentic? Are you trying to give people exactly, what you think they need rather than what you really want to create and do? Now, I've been there on that with the social media part, where in the very early days, and that quickly ended because I've never really been one where, like, I'm just doing things to get other people's approval, thank heavens, because I think that's a heavy energy. But we all fall into it in one way or another, and I have too. But in the early days of creating videos, first of all, I thought I had to follow a recipe that everybody else was using. That can be a real issue. And that's not just social media, that's in life in general. If we think we have to be carving out a path that is very similar to others, guess what? You're not being you. You're not being authentic. You're giving your energy away. You're not allowing that energy of yourself to be there for your own creative expansion. You're just following everybody else. So we've got that in one way or the other. So with my videos, what I was doing in the early days, I was looking at what does everybody else do? What do, as far as like frequency, that was my big thing, was frequency. I was doing a video a day for, I think it was a couple months. And I was exhausted. In 2 months' time, I was ready to quit. And I'll never forget, it was April 7th of 2007. I think it's 17 or 18 when I started. I don't recall. But anyway, needless to say, I remember the date. I was ready to quit. I'm like, nope, not doing YouTube. I had set my own self up for that. I was giving so much of my energy away because I thought that's what I had to do. I had to do a video a day because guess what? I needed to get people that were subscribing and blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on. And then finally I was like, no, I'm going to do 3 a week. Okay, so remember, this is a process of understanding. Sometimes I learn a little slower. So 3 a week. Well, that was quickly found for me to be too much as well. I pretty quickly moved through the next year into understanding that a video a week was what I had the capacity for and really felt like it was good for me. And then what I would do is I would look at my other social media presence and figure out what felt good. So my point in all this is finding a space and a way for you to create what feels right for you within the framework for you, not following algorithms or the way other people think it needs to be or the way your parents think you need to be or all of those constructs. We have to be authentically ourselves because otherwise we're giving energy away. And then ultimately, what are you creating? You're not creating you. You're not creating your journey because you're coming from an unauthentic place. You're trying to fit into a mold that doesn't work for you. And as you move further and further into whatever it is you're working on day to day, you move further and further into doing it the way that feels good for you. That good feeling creates more good energy for yourself. So what I would say is don't discount anything we're talking about here. Some of this is just really common sense, but we don't dig deep enough. We're like, I do that. No, we don't. We really don't. If you really want to enhance your spiritual awakening ascension journey, take a deep dive into the things I'm talking about. You will find something that tightens you up, that doesn't feel authentic. Again, these are all things that give energy away, that you can then reclaim to open up free space. Okay? Let me see if there's anything else I want to mention. So mine was my good example. I have others, but my good example was social media. Fortunately for me with work, I always was just kind of me. And, if you didn't like me, the way I managed, the way I did my work. I mean, granted, I listened to my bosses, right? My managers, but it wasn't like I was always trying to be someone else. But the social media thing got me because I didn't know anything about it, right? I never in a million years thought I'd have an online business, but Spirit came and woke me up and guided me to this. So that was all new learning, and I think with a lot of new things that we don't understand, we tend to look to others, and yes, we can learn from them, but what we don't want to do is become them. Okay, you're the only one that can be you, and you want to be the most authentic you can. Okay, so again, recognition, applause, approval, that's the giving energy away part. So we've covered reclaiming energy, making energetic space, and we're now talking about the how to not give energy away to others, because then you just end up becoming their creation. Okay, the last one. Again, this might seem obvious, but don't just pass this by. Morning routine. They said to me, it's so important. It is just critical to starting your day and being able to create your day. Every day we get up and put our feet on the floor, we're creating a new day. It's our day to create. No, nobody's creating it for you. Yes, it may feel like we've made decisions over time where we've boxed ourselves in, but a lot of us in the awakening journey, particularly this last year, have made other decisions. Our higher self has guided us to understand, often very difficult decisions, that this no longer serves. Okay, that this no longer serves. And we create every single day that we put our foot on the floor. So when you put your foot on the floor in the morning to get up, don't do it mindlessly. Understand that first footstep I'm creating from here on in. Now, this doesn't mean to use tight energy to be worried about what you're creating. This is about bringing in the beauty of a new day for yourself. Now, we're all in different circumstances in our morning routine. I understand that some of us have lots of kids and children and parents and that we're taking care of it, and partners, and some of us live alone, like me, right? So maybe you could argue it's a little bit easier, but again, maybe it's not. We have pets, we have work, we have all kinds of things. So what I want you to do is look at what you can do within the framework of what I'm giving you today. I'm not giving you a recipe, I'm giving you ideas. So look at your morning routine, because what this does is this sets the energy for the day. Okay, remember, this is all energetic, everything we're talking about today. It sets the energy for the day. What energy do you want to set for the day? So now, in my journey, I have a morning routine. I never used to. All those years of working in what I was called corporate America, big companies that I used to work for, demanding hours, and I just was building a career thinking that's what life was, honestly. My morning routine for many years consisted of flying out of bed with very little time to get ready. I would literally look at myself in the mirror and go, it's showtime. Because it felt like it. And I wish I would have been more aware that I was really trying to tell myself something, right? Needless to say, I mean, it served me until it didn't. But point being is I didn't have a morning routine at all. I would blow out of the door. I was not conscious at all. I would go pick up my coffee. Now, I'm not saying when we do these things now that it's an issue. It's how you do these things, okay? And I'll tell you what I've done differently. Anyway, needless to say, I would blow out of the door, drive out. I'd have my coffee. I think I made my coffee at home, but lots of times I would also pick up coffee. And then I would go pick up breakfast, and I would eat on the way there. And then by the time I got to work, I'd be done with breakfast, and I would just fly right into my first meeting or whatever. That was my morning. Oh, for eons. Until I went through my awakening and I quit my job. As you know my story, if you've listened to my videos in the past, I went from like overnight, quit my job, had nothing, zero. Like, I don't want to say no responsibility, but the carpet had been pulled out from under me. And then I decided to quit my job. And my partner passes away and all that happened with the awakening. But what I quickly did was realize how important, and again, Spirit helps you realize this. Your higher self is guiding you to this place, to not ignore the morning. So there are things that can be done. For example, getting up earlier. I set a routine. Again, I'm not saying this is what you have to do. These are my examples, but I think they've really solidified for me a fantastic way to start the day. Getting up at a set time every day is what I do, even on the weekends. Now, sometimes I'll sleep in. I'm not rigid, but at the same time, I do keep to a schedule. I make a point of not leaving my room until I do certain things, and it feels really good. But I will say one of the challenges I have now is, one that I've always had, is I feel like I need to rush through it so I can get going in my day. That's an issue for me. That's one of the foundational things for me, because I'm a doer. I'm a let's get it done. I'm a driver, so I got to be aware of that. So what I'll do is my morning routine consists of making my bed. That's a big thing for me, and they're like applauding for that. That it's energy. Again, it's energy. It's how you set that stage in that bedroom, like I said earlier, right? I do a gratitude prayer. I thank my team. I thank Source, God, Spirit, the universe. I do some stretching. I mean, this is all like minutes. I do some initial stretching to open up flow in my body. And then I do a 10-minute meditation. That's the one where I'm like, I could pass on that today. I'll do it later. Nope. I've done that and it doesn't start my day out right. And then what I do is I go get ready for my morning and I look in the mirror and I call my team in. And then I'm not a great morning person. And so I can be kind of like this, just kind of like this, real low energy. So I fake it and I make myself dance. And I think I've told you I danced disco in the kitchen. I've kind of dropped that off, but I need to get back to that because I'm doing it very irregularly. But I get that flow going and I get joy going and I get goofy. And I'm like, okay, guys, here we go. Let's go to our day. I cannot tell you the difference. So what you're doing there is you're setting the energy for the day with the practices that you have. How are you going to face the day? You have a choice. How are you going to face the day? Are you going to mindlessly run through the tunnel like I used to do and then you don't see anything at all? Or are you going to create that space where you have set the stage? Now, what I also do, again, this leads then into, and again, you have to decide what amount of time you want to free up. How can you make that happen for you if you're not already doing this? So then what I do is I make my coffee. Well, first of all, I feed my cat. I mean, these are all things, right? Feed my cat. I feed the birds. I make my coffee. And then what I do is I sit and I watch the birds. And I make a point of that every day. That is a biggie for me. For about a half hour, I will sit and read a little bit of part of a book that I have going. I will watch the birds. And this literally all takes 45 minutes. 45 minutes to make a huge difference in my day. To make a massive difference in my day. And I will tell you, I have incredible experiences of how my day has flowed and what has flowed to me. That's the biggest thing. What are you setting as your energy for the day so that things can flow to you? And remember, I mean, do you want the obstacles, the energy that's meant for you to have to go through obstacles to get there or not get there? Because that is exactly what will happen. We want to set and open up that inviting energetic space in your morning. So again, these are 3 things that you can take a look at. They really wanted me to talk about this today, is setting this energetic space and looking at how we either allow energy to come to us that is for our higher good or how we don't. Now, there are other things I know that we could talk about with respect to this, but these are the 3 things I really wanted to hone in on for January. So if you think about the new year and you think about the year of creative expansion and whatever that's going to mean for you, because it'll flow to you, you'll be able to look back at the end of the year and go, wow, look what I created. And remember, creating is a very broad term. It's not, we all think of creating oftentimes as something massive. Well, guess what? You have to have the spark before you have the flame, before you have the roaring fire. Okay, always remember this, and this is a patience practice journey. So in this year of creative expansion, look at January as how you can start picking a few things to do regularly. And then what you'll do is you'll start cycling through that. Like for example, the cleaning out, clearing out, the more minimalizing idea. Cleaning out, clearing out. You'll just start getting into that habit and it'll start feeling good. And then when it starts getting cluttered again, which, obviously I have work to do, of the things that you haven't, may say for my example, put away, you're going to feel it. You're going to be like, oh God, okay. Because any new habit takes a while to establish. So give yourself some space. Give yourself some forgiveness. If you don't do it right, it's okay. The world's not going to fall apart. But what you're doing is you're setting up your new energetic world to move forward in 2023 and forward in these Aquarian age energies, which are really upon us in this year of creative expansion. So I hope this has been helpful to you today. Whether you take all of these things, one of these things, or you got a nugget of something, really dive deep into this. Don't just discount what is said, which may sound like what other people have said, because you're going to find something that's going to help you. You may find a huge thing that you didn't recognize because you haven't done the deep dive. So take the time to do the deep dive. Take a look at your routine. Take a look at how you are creating your energetic space, how you're setting up the energy, how you're giving energy away, and how certain energies are taking up space that don't need to be taken up. I thank you so much for joining me. Check out my services, purplerainhealing.com. What a great way to start the year with either spiritual awakening mentoring, which I absolutely love. So many people I am working with now on the mentoring, where we are really traveling through their individual journeys, assisting you with practical advice as well as channeled information and a really understanding of your past, present, future soul journey, as well as your individual awakening journey within the collective journey. So check out all my channeled services, my distance energy healing. I would absolutely love to work with you to help launch you forward in your year of 2023. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I wish you well as we start off this brand new year.